Okay, so let me start sharing my screen and tell me if you can make sure we can see it all. And I'll open the chat box. Okay, so everybody can see my screen okay? If it just somebody lets me know that you can see my screen, perfect. Okay, thank you. Okay, well, welcome to Google Business Profile. It used to be called Google My Business. And we're just going to go through the basics of how to set one up. So bear with me if you've already got one. I just always like to include this for those that have never set one up before, and then we'll look at how you make the most out of it. So a little bit before we start about me and this program. If you haven't joined the Digital Solutions program, I really do encourage you to do so. It costs you $44 and you'll get a minimum of 7 hours of support from advisors like myself. So we do 3 hours of one-to-one and then a minimum of 4 hours of workshops and webinars. You can do as many as you like. And if you're not sure where to find new workshops, apart from asking our customer service team, then you can go onto our website, businessstation.com.au, and look for events on there, and you'll find all the workshops that we've got there. A little bit about myself. So I've been in marketing for over 25 years. I've worked both here and in the UK. I've worked in agencies, worked in shopping centres. I have, as a marketing manager, I should say, and I run a freelance agency here as well in Australia at the moment. So, and I think you'll find most of the advisors do. So I'm based on the Gold Coast here. So a Google Business Profile, basically, most of the time when people are searching for a business, they turn to Google. There's over 90% of searches are done through Google. And Google is just one of the search engines, but it's the main one. You also hear of Bing, Yahoo. There's so many out there, but 90% of searches are done with Google. So if you've got a Google Business Profile, and why wouldn't you? They're free. Basically, it's just like having an online directory listing, and you just need to make the most out of it. So a Google Business account lets you show up in search results when people are looking for you online. It's totally free, which makes it a really affordable marketing tool. And you can put lots and lots of information about your business into it. I have had businesses telling me from the minute they set their Google Business Profile up, they saw an immediate return on their time of creating one because they were starting to get calls straight away. So we're going to cover, we've already talked about a little bit about why you need a Google Business Profile. We're going to look at how to set one up, how to verify it. If you have ever take over a business, how you can claim one, and then how we make the most out of it. Has everybody here, I should ask the other way around. Has anybody here not got a Google Business Profile? So we've pretty much all got a Google Business Profile. So, okay, when you're basically creating a Google Business Profile, and as I said, bear with me because we go, so we have got somebody that hasn't got one. Perfect. So you're going to like the first part of this, definitely, because this is going to show you how to claim one. So even when you've got a bricks and mortar store, your customers are still online, and they're always typically searching for products on search engines like Google. So a Google Business Profile will ensure that when someone looks for your company, that they could look for it in Google Search or on Google Maps, that they'll find it. And once they do, your listing shows searches where and how to visit your shop if you've got a physical presence, or a website if you don't. And it basically improves your local search engine optimization. And also basically search engine optimization is making sure that you're found when people are searching for you. You're optimizing your company profile online so the search engines serve you up in searches. It basically boosts confidence. You see here that you've got reviews here. So this particular image I've shown you here, they've got 118 Google reviews, and customers are 70% more likely to visit a business with a Google business listing. And they found that in a recent survey, they found that customers are twice as likely, businesses are twice as likely to earn trust from customers if they've got it. And the more the confident the consumer feels, then the more likely they are to purchase. Google reviews, they also found, research shows that the consumers trust online reviews almost as much as a personal recommendation. So it's really important to get those Google reviews going too, not just to set this up and forget, because you need to keep adding to it to build your profile. A little bit about search engine optimization. When businesses are searching for you, or sorry, when customers are searching for your business online or a business online, they'll do a Google search and they'll usually type in a phrase that they're looking for. So it might be best chiropractor near me, or how to fix this, or how to do that. And you want to make sure the more content that you answer those kind of questions that people typically search for, and they're called keyword phrases, the more likely you are to come up in searches. So by having this Google business profile, that's going to help you to appear. There are other ways, and if you have a website, then I encourage you to sign up for one of our content writing sessions, because the more you can add content online, the more you've got in your arsenal of information to give to the search engines when they're looking for it. So basically, just always remember that you are talking to your customers online, but you have to go through a search engine most of the time to get to your customers. And so you've got to tell them as well as your customers. The Google business listing will also help keep your customers informed about your business, because it includes things like contact information, your trading hours. You can post updates on there. So if you're temporarily closed, you could put that on there. If you've got a special, a special event coming up, you can post that on there. There's lots of different information, including posts and product information that you can include in your listing. And Google business accounts have really strong local search engine optimization, which obviously means those searching in the local area to you. So the information you share will rank above other sites if you've got a Google business listing. So how do we set one up? Okay, so as I said, bear with me for those of you that have got one. We're going to go over this then. And Rosalba, if you've got any questions after this, I can always stay on at the end and we can just answer some questions about setting one up. But the basic is you go to google.com/business to sign in and you create your own business. Now, we'll cover off if somebody's already got your business and how you take that as well. I'll cover that briefly in a moment. So you enter your business name, and if it doesn't appear in the drop down menu, then you add your business to Google. So it just says down here, add your business to Google, and then you choose a category that best suits your business. Now you can change this and add to it later on, so don't worry too much. We're just getting the basics going here. Also, I should just mention, when you go to set up your Google business profile, make sure that you are actually on Google's site, because obviously people pay with search engine optimization to get higher up in the list, and you can sometimes end up on a company website where they're offering to do it for you. You really don't need that. You can build this yourself. So just make sure you are on Google's site, so with that link there. Now, if you've got a physical location, then you can put that in. And if you don't, then you can do, so just be honest at that point. I get asked this question all the time, well, what if I just sell online? Well, ideally with a Google business profile, you have to either have a physical presence, or you have to, like myself, I work from home. So when I still have a Google business listing, and when I want to, so I've got one, because when I want to go meet with clients, I might go and meet with them in a coffee shop or go to their premises. So as long as you are physically able to go and meet clients, you can have a Google business listing. So if you haven't got a physical location, just put no in here. I actually do put this. Now, what I've done when I set mine up was I said, yes, that I do have a physical location, but I didn't actually put my street address in. So I'll show you mine in a moment and we can look at that in more detail. But then it's going to ask you, where do you serve your customers? So you can put in as many of those as you like, and you can add to as many times as you like in the actual admin section of this once you've built it. So keep to the basics when you first set it up, put in a few addresses. I do suggest when you're putting in the areas that you serve, you add as many as you can. So for example, I'm located on the Gold Coast in Robina. I just wouldn't put Gold Coast, I would put Robina, Burleigh, Varsity Lakes, Madribar, you know, I'd put a big list of the areas that I would cover around here. And then make sure that you enter all the details so that customers can reach you. And if you use a Facebook page rather than a website, you can add that as well. So, and then you just press finish and manage listing. And you can check yes if you would like to receive updates and notifications, but you can just click finish at this point. And then you'll be asked to verify your business. Now, the verification bit is quite funny because depending on your business, it will either come through in an email and say that you're verified. You might get a text message, but most of the time it comes through via a postcard in the mail. And you get a 6-digit code, and it just asks you to enter that. Now, I always say when you set your Google business profile up, put a diary reminder in a couple of weeks to make sure that you did get your verification code, because you can't, your business won't go live and you can't do any information without actually verifying it unless they verify it automatically, which does also happen too. But you want to make sure that it's verified, and I'll show you where you can see if it's verified. If you have multiple Google business accounts, obviously make sure that you check the right one, and you can add as many as you like, and you'll see by my profile when we get to that stage that I've got multiple in there. And as I said, it can take a few days to verify when you get it via the mail section. So I always put a couple of weeks in to make sure. Now, I mentioned earlier, if you want to claim a Google business profile, so if you've taken over a business and you want to actually claim that, then you would just go on to that business and you can manage, as it says here, it says here I manage this one, but it would say claim this profile, so, or manage this listing, something along those lines. And then the other way that you can claim a profile is you can look up the business listing in the Google search, or you can find it on Google Maps and just say own this business. Have I got any questions so far? I know most of you have actually got a Google, so we're just repeating at the moment how to set one up. Rosalba, does that make sense to you so far? Okay, I'm going to move on. So adding multiple accounts. Now, if you do have, great, perfect. Is there any security about people claiming others' businesses? Well, they can't claim yours. You know, nobody can just go in and claim your own account, but it is an easy way to claim, and they'll check the details, etc. So it doesn't just happen. They can't just claim it. They will actually verify and check that it's correct. So you will have to, and if anybody ever tries to claim your business, you'll get notified about it. So, you know, you can protect yourself. And is there a simple link to your Google business site? And if so, how do you find it? I have a question. So let's have a look at adding. Let's have a look here for a moment about adding multiple accounts, and then see if I answer your questions that you've just asked me as we go through, because the security thing I think I've answered for Lisa. Is there a simple link to your Google business site? So no, not necessarily, but yes and no, and I'm going to show you that. Depends what you're trying to get out of it, Stacey. And if you're trying to get reviews and things, then I'll show you how to get a simple link to that. But when it comes to a link to your actual Google business listing, then it's like any other URL. Yes, you can use that to get to it too. So if you've got multiple locations, so say you own a coffee shop and you've just purchased another coffee shop, you want to add that location, then I'll show you where in the Google business profile dashboard that you can actually manage locations and add more in. It's basically on the left-hand side in the menu, but there is also an option when you first go in to say add another business. And you'll see when we go into mine that I've got lots of, well, to say lots, I've got 3 or 4 in there. So that I look after, and they're all different businesses, but you can have the same. If you've got multiple businesses and you want to add those in, then you can do multiple in one go bulk ads as well. You can also sort of claim a business as we did before and go to the Google Maps and drop a pin on the location where you'd like to add a business. And you can also add a missing place in the left menu as well. So there's lots of different options, and then you just fill in the details and claim that business. And I think it's 10 you have to have if you want to add them in bulk. But if you've got 10 or more locations, then you could suddenly add all those in bulk. Okay. Margaret, bear with me on the question and I will come back to you in a moment. So I've got a question here. Can someone who does not own your business try to claim it? I think I've kind of answered that. Yes, they can, but they can't without your approval. So you will be fine. Don't ever worry about something like that happening. Okay, so when we're talking about reviews, and again, I'm kind of doing this as a whirlwind tour, this first part, because I'm going to take you into an actual Google business profile and show you all of this in real time. So the only part that I can't show you in a real one is how to set one up, which is why I do that as a slideshow. So when it comes to reviews, I do get asked the question, what do I do if somebody writes me a negative review? Well, you can't turn off reviews, but that's probably good because it shows how you deal with customer service. I've got another question here. I'm finding one of my business listings is taking priority over another. I'd like to remove it, but when I did try, it came up as permanently closed, which is not a good look in my opinion. Is there an easy way to remove one of my business listings? Absolutely. I'll show you at the end if you want to stay on at the end, and I can show you how to remove listings. We may even cover it in a moment. If you, as we're going through this, we can have a look. So with the review side of it, yes, my suggestion is that you always answer reviews, whether you put just a simple thank you, thank you for your review, it's a pleasure working with you. Or if you've got a negative review, then maybe just save in a Word document or on your phone in your notes, some simple, easy to answer, polite, customer service friendly answers, because as we all know, there's always going to be somebody that's not going to like the service or the product or something like that, and they're going to put something on there. The trick is to come back with an answer that hopefully will pacify them, but other customers will see that you do take the time to answer and take people seriously when they're adding comments on. So I worked in shopping centres for 12 years as a marketing manager, and we used to get lots of negative comments, especially when you were doing renovations and things like that. And it was really quite funny as well, because if we ever moved any furniture around in shopping centres, you'd be sure that somebody would actually comment in a review that they took my chairs away, I'm too old, I can't get from one place to another, that kind of thing. So you had to be quick to answer those, to talk to them. And I used to just say, can we take this offline, and would you like to come in and meet me, or perhaps you'd like to give me a ring, something like that. So it just takes it out of that equation, and then they can talk to you. I've got another question here. We are a franchisee business service, to be exact, and we have a main office and the rest is via van. Can we have multiple locations? You can, and you can add, so this one's a little bit more tricky because you can add as many locations as you like. What you could also do is, if you've got vans going out of certain physical places, then you can do what I've done, because if you're working, if you've got van drivers going out of their homes with their vans, then why not set up something that is close to them but doesn't give away their home location? So in a central town area in each place, and then create them. So yes, you can add as many service areas as you like. We've tried before, it says, and I've got a similar problem before, that there was guidelines that said multiple location must have 1 hour radius. Is this correct? Yes, I have seen the 1 hour radius. I would say that, again, bear in mind what this is used for. So this is customers asking you or wanting to find information out about your business. So the more that you can give them, and the more that they feel that the information is correct, the better. So if you do service outside doors, I mean, when I set mine up, as I said, I'm located in Robina on the Gold Coast, but I service all of Australia because I'm digital. So you can add that in. You can put Australia, you can put all these different service areas, but you can also put multiple locations in. And so, I mean, even in different countries. So yes, you can do it. You've just got to be smart about the way you do it so that Google don't treat you, as you've said there, as spam, and that you don't get suspended. So I would set up different accounts with different addresses and trial it that way. Again, if any of these questions don't answer and we need to jump on and have a chat afterwards, happy to do so. I've got another question here. Wondering if you have headphone or earphones with the mic. The echo of your voice is a bit because you're using the computer. I'm not using the computer. I do have a microphone. So I don't know, is everybody struggling with my voice? Is anybody else having problems hearing me? No, everybody's fine. No, everybody else is not having a problem. I do actually have a separate microphone because my PC, one, you're right, isn't good. So we actually have one plugged into my PC that is a proper microphone. Again, if you've got any questions, just stay back afterwards and I'll do my best to answer them for you. So, okay, the other thing that sometimes I get asked is how do we get reviews? And there's multiple ways that you can do this. Now, this is just one way that you can go on to Place ID and you can get your code and you can put it into a Google QR code. But I'm going to show you an easier way to do that. So I think the best thing now is to go on and let's have a look at how we go around a Google business profile. So we've all seen what one looks like, and I'm going to take you into the back end of mine. So once you've got it, you get into it via your Google business profile. Now, as I said here, this is where you can have multiple locations. So and this is where it tells you if you're verified or not, if you've got edits pending. Now, what's really funny with this is that I changed some things on my site several months ago and they're still showing as pending. So I've got, you know, they do have issues with these things, and you can actually just write to Google and say, hey, look, I've got pending edits. They've been there for a while. The site is still verified. I just added in some more areas and I was doing it when I was showing somebody how to do it. I said here how you, and as well, sorry, just notice up here that it says that all 4 businesses are 100% verified. I can add a business here, so I can just click on that, add a single business or import businesses. So that's one place that I can do it. So, and here is where I can then find that business. So that's where I can add another business to my profile. So we're going to go into this one today. And this is what it typically looks like in the back end here. So everything you see in here is pretty much replicated down the side here. So if you see create a post, you've got posts, add a photo, you've got photos, create an ad, create an ad. There are a couple of things in here that are different. So it's always worth having a look through here and to see what they add. But this is your main dashboard, your home dashboard. So if Google's going to ask you any questions, this is where they're going to ask it. Now, I said to you earlier about reviews, and we've got the review section down here. But this is on here where you can share your review form and get new reviews. So if I just click that button, I can copy that link and I can put it on Facebook, I can put it on Twitter, but I can also put it into a QR code writer and create a QR code. Now, where that's handy is if you have a physical presence and you want to put something near the door as people come and go, you could have a nice little A4 poster frame there and have it on the wall that just says, you know, if you liked our products or services, please give us a review on Google, or you can just have a simple review us on Google, however you want to put it together. But that's how you can do that. You've just got a copy there and you can share it, or you can share it via email. Now, if you don't have a physical presence, the other way to do that is, I had a real estate agent on here recently, and I suggested to them that maybe when they drop off the bottle of champagne when they sell a home, that they actually tie a little label to the bottom of the top of the champagne, and So basically that they've got the QR code on there, and that their customers, they can just say, you know, thank you for your business, please give us a review. We don't have the get more reviews section on the home screen. Oh, that's interesting, Fiona. We'll have a look at yours. You should have it there. I don't know why you wouldn't have it there. So we can have a look at that as well afterwards, if you like. We've got posts in here. As I said, posts are here, and we can create a post. We can, okay, you found it, cool. Some of these screens, as I said, might be different, but it's worth having a look through. So here, pending edits. Some edits are pending. So here it's telling me what is pending. It's telling me my reviews. It's just basically an update on the front panel. Then we've got posts. Now, posts is where you can add more information about your company. So when we're going back to talking about search engine optimization, what I always say is that the more content you can have in the online world, the more likely you are to be found. Because if you think about it, I always describe the internet as a bit like a massive library, physical library, but it's online. And the search engines are like the librarians to the online library. Now, if a customer goes in and asks for information on chiropractors, for example, then the librarian's going to go off and check what they've got on their shelves, and then they're going to come back and say, hey, try this book, try this book. That's exactly how a search engine works. They go off with their little minions and they look and say, right, who's got the answer to that question? Well, these guys have, and they serve it up in a certain order. Now, you can pay to come up in those search engines higher, but that's a whole different ballgame. But if you've got content, the more content you've got organically, the more likely you will be to come up in those searches, because Google and the search engines want to give up as much information as they can, because they're fighting to be the #1 search engine, albeit Google has 90%, so they're very far behind the others. But Google still wants to remain the #1 search engine. So the more information that you can give the search engines, the better for your business. And how you do this is you just make sure that you're covering off on so many different things. So with your website, you make sure that your content includes the keyword phrases that people are typically searching for. And I won't go into this in too much because we run separate workshops on things like that. But it is important that I teach people how to repurpose content. So you build your website, you've got your basic information on there, and ideally you want 300 to 500 words minimum per page on a website with those keyword phrases. Then what you want to do is you want to add to that. So like a bit like adding chapters to your online shelf. You add in blogs to your website, but you can also add in this bit here, the posts. So I always say to people, if you do write blogs, then just copy your blog and post it up on here as a post. And to do it, you just go into here. If you haven't done one before, you'll have a different button, first of all, here. But once you've got one, you just click and add, and your screen will look like this. And then you can add offers, what's new, events, and so on. So I usually put them up as a what's new, and you add photos, write your post. It will allow you, it's around about 250 words. And then you can add a call to action button. So that information can then be published with the photos, and this is what it looks like. You get something like this. Now, if you do that every time you write a blog, and if you don't write blogs, you can just do these instead, which is the posts, then what that's doing is it's adding more opportunity to be found in searches, because as I said, the more times you can write about your business, the more likely Google, when it's searching for that, is going to find you, because it's got content to find. Because Google can't see, but it can read. So you need to write and produce videos and produce images and things that are named so he can read what the images are. So yes, you can repeat what you put on social media as well. I always say to people, when you're repurposing, I would actually because we're all very busy, and you can imagine in shopping centres there's usually only one of us and 100 stores, and we're writing all this content. So you look after your Google business profile, you look after your website, you look after your social media, and you look after your e-newsletters. So why not repurpose the content? Most of the time you're talking to different audiences anyway, so why not repurpose it? Write your blog, put that on your website, copy it, paste it into Google Business Profile, then decide how many social media posts you could get out of that content. So turn that into social media posts. Then why not send out an e-newsletter every so often that just links to those articles? So you're again reaching a different audience. So I've got another question here. On my left side menu, I can only see businesses, reviews, links to ads, settings, and support. I think what we might do in a moment is, Stacey, at the end, we'll have a look at yours and I can switch screens and we can stop recording and then I can have a look at all these questions and see who's got what. And it might be easier. So that's posts, okay? Then we've got the information. This is the main section. When you first come into here, you want to make sure that everything in here that you possibly can is completed. So what we do is we go through every section. Now, do you remember when I said we were first setting this up, we were choosing categories? Anything that's got a pen beside it, you can edit. So now we can come in, if we just put marketing consultant, then we could come in and add graphic designer and web designer, and you just hit the little button and you add them, and you're going to add as many categories, and then you just hit apply. You put in, now here, do you remember I said to you, so if I show you my actual profile, this is my profile. This is what it's showing as a street address, and this is what it's showing as an outside image address. Now, obviously this isn't my home. This is actually a little strip mall that's a couple of streets away from me. And what you need to do is just pinpoint when you're dropping it into the map so that you're not actually giving a physical location away. So in answer to that question earlier, when I was saying about how you can claim businesses without having a physical address, this is how you do it. I didn't want to give my home address away. And I wanted to have a nice, decent photo as well. So I chose somewhere that was a couple of streets away from me. That still gives me the map point and it still gives me an outside picture, but it doesn't affect anything because I am close by to there and I do meet people there for coffee. And then you can see here that I've filled in as much information. I've got a logo, I've got photos, and we're going to go through all this bit in a moment. You can see where it says I'm located, it's got an address, it's got my opening hours, it's got any health and safety tips if you want them, a phone number. You can book appointments with me through Calendly on here. And then I've added these as examples. So if you sell physical products, you can pop those in here. I used these just to show how to do it. And then here's some of my reviews. And then we've got an intro to the business, and make the most of that. Fill up as much as you possibly can in this space. And then here's our posts. Okay, so if I go back into this area here, we want to add in as many service areas as we can. So you can just keep adding them here. Then we've got our trading hours. Try and be as realistic as possible with these. You don't want people going on here because they'll get frustrated if they find the wrong times, etc. And you can add more trading hours or more special hours here. So you've made the most of these if you need to use them. The only time I don't do that is when you've got things like Labor Day. I think it's pretty obvious when you've got a marketing company or whatever the trade may be. If we're like Anzac Day yesterday, most of us are going to be closed. So, but if you're open, then you might want to add that you are actually open on that day. So that might be the other way around that you do it. You put your phone number in and you put your website address in. And every time you do something, it's going to say that it's waiting to verify that information. So it will say, waiting to verify or something like that. And then you can add products here, but you can also add them down the side here. So we've got products and services. Products and services are also here too. And you can see I've linked up my Calendly, which is again another free service. With Calendly, I really do recommend this because people are busy, so they want to actually just book a session with you. So if you can say to people, visit my Google profile or visit my website and book an appointment with me, that just connects up with your normal calendar and they don't feel like they're having to contact you to sort out diary dates, etc. It just comes up. So I would encourage you to have a look at free bookings if you can. And then a list of all of your services. Then we've got, and we can edit as I said, here as well. We can then add in more information. So if you want to do this, and I don't know why everybody's so obsessed with female-owned businesses at the moment, because most businesses I come across are female-owned. So I'm a little bit unsure about this one, but anyway, they do have it on here. Accessibility and amenities, crowds, you know, just fill in as much as you possibly can. And then write content that makes sense and has some of those keyword phrases about what you do in here. And then you can add in photos, etc. But you can also, there's some other things here now. You asked me about how to close a business here. This is where this comes in. So does that answer the question to, who asked me about closing a business? I'm just having a look through. Have you seen, so this is where you can, that was me, I did that, but it still came up permanently closed. Have you tried removing the listing and claiming it again? Maybe there was something, there was a glitch in the system that day, or just contact Google, and you can do that down here with support. You've got a support button down the bottom here where you can ask for help. They do come back to you, because when I've worked in agencies, they've been pretty good at coming back to us. Same as with social media. You know, we used to have problems with clients where we would promote like swimsuits, for example. And when you start to put photos with females wearing swimsuits on social media, they can be funny with stuff like that. So, you know, and then you can, if you've got more advanced information, you can use this as well. So, you know, use as much as you possibly can on here. The insights button is just showing you all the searches. So direct, people who find your business profile searching for your business name, and then discovery, those that just discovered you by looking online, and you can see where your searches are coming from. Just bear in mind with mine that I don't actively promote it. So mine will be a little different to yours. And then you can see that, you know, how many people came to you from your listings on search compared to listings on maps. So because I had that map listing, look, a lot of people are looking for me in maps. So that's interesting as well. And then, you know, how many went on to visit my website, request directions, or call me. And as I said, don't take too much notice of mine because I don't actively promote it. And then you can see the area that the area where customer requests directions to your business from. Well, I've only had one, so yeah, it's a bit, but it does give you all of this information and the total calls. And then it will show you how many people are viewing your photos too, and how many are businesses like you. So you can see your competition having a look at you. And then we go down to the reviews section. So this is where people, when they send you a review, you'll receive an email that says you've received a review. This is where, if you go into here, those that you haven't replied to, if you had one in here, you could then reply to it. As you can see, I've replied to mine and I've replied to all of them. I've been lucky enough not to have a negative review, but if I did, I would still reply to it here and try and take it offline so that your whole conversation is not in there. Thank you, Lisa. If you have any other questions, just send me an email if you don't manage to keep up with this, or book an appointment through the Digital Solutions Scheme. And yes, you'll get the recording. So thank you for joining us. So the other section that you've got is your messages. Now you can use this. I actually don't turn on this and don't use it, but you can use your message section on here. Photos. So this is where I want you to come in, and you might have more boxes up here because I've already used them. So when you first come in and set this up, you've got a cover photo, a logo. So put your logo in, put a cover photo on it. If you can, add videos, and then put as many. You'll have internal photos and external photos. They've taken these as being internal, even though I didn't list them as so. What you want to try and avoid is using stock photos like this. You don't want to do that. Ideally, you want to have actual photos of you and your staff and your business. Do behind the scenes. It can be very raw footage, so you can just take it with your iPhone, and maybe if you've got your staff out on, so say you were an air conditioning company and you were fixing something in someone's home, it would make a good tip if you just got someone to hold the camera while you just explained what was wrong. and put it on there, because it just adds to the content that you're sharing. Here's where I said about adding products. So you go in here, you just add a product, and then we've seen what it looks like on Google, but you can just add a product here. And when you do so, it's going to ask you for a photo, name, category, price, product description. And you can see that some of them are optional as well. And then you can add a button to purchase as well. With services, it works in the same way. You can add in services, you can add in content. I've done some as examples here. And you can add in prices as well if you want to. Now, if you don't have a website, they do actually offer a website button. I don't actually recommend that. I'd rather that you use, because it does look very homemade, I would rather you used another free tool like Wix or even Squarespace. If ideally, I'd send people to Squarespace more than anything else for a freebie setup, because you still got to pay for hosting, and they include hosting in theirs. So if you don't have a website, look at those options rather than this one here, because it is very raw. It looks very basic, you know, like this. You can tell it's made by Google. Now, the users thing button here is if you have staff that work for you, or you go to work in an agency, don't ever give away your passwords. And the same goes for any of your other marketing tools that you use, whether it be social media, your website, whatever you're doing. Don't ever hand over your passwords, because then you've given over control to that person. You remain in control always. If you do use somebody to help you with any of this, then you just click on the users button and you add a user. So you can see that I have someone in here that works and manages mine with me. I can remove her at any point. Whereas if she was accessed like me, she could actually take me out. So, and the same goes with your website. As I said, please don't do passwords for people. And then you can also use this to create ads. And here you can add a new business from here too. And then you've got support. So if you want to get support from these guys, then you can contact them this way, and you'll get a little button that will come up here, and it will try to help you. So where you've got, so back to that question of where we're saying about permanently closed and it's not working, then maybe put something in here, or you can ask the community to help you. There's a community of experts on here that can help you too. So that's pretty much how you use them. As I said, when you see it from the front, I've shown you here. This is another example of one that I always show, because these guys were from my agency days. They now do all their own, and they are constantly updating their photos. They have everything filled in. They've got 96 Google reviews. So the more you can add and the more reviews you get, the better for you. You can see their products. They add in products constantly, and they sell, you can buy them through here. So if I click on that product, it's going to take me through the information, and then I can order it online. So that's, and it's got their telephone number here. It's just another way of purchasing. So if you don't have a website, you can start to use this first. Okay, so that's pretty much how to set up your Google profile and how to make the most of it. Does anybody have any other questions? I've got here, why does Google sometimes not show me reviews left by clients? I've had that one come up before. I don't know is the answer to that one. I've never seen it. So I have had somebody tell me that before. Maybe it's because you haven't accepted the review or checked it. Have you tried that? So maybe try that. Maybe have a look in when you receive your emails, go into your reviews section at the back end and see if when you're in here, in this part here, that you have replied to all the reviews, and maybe try that and see if that works, if they're in there. Because I've never had that happen to me in all the years I've been doing it, but you're not the first person to say that. So there must be something going on there. Okay, so basically that is it. Now, anybody that has any questions that wants to stay on, you're welcome to, and I'll stop the recording and we can just have a look at yours quickly before the end of the session. How does that sound? Is this connected to my personal Google account? Yes, yes, they are, because obviously you can see there when I went in to go in, I'm automatically logged into Google with my Gmail. You need a Gmail account to get in here. So it's my business site, but it's done through my personal Google account. Yes, absolutely. Okay, well, good luck and all have a great day. And as I said, if you want to stay on, yes, Janine says great questions, everyone. So thank you very much. And yeah, if you want to learn any more about any of the content writing side of things or grant writing. So Margaret, feel free to stay on if you've got lots of other questions. Anybody, just look out on the Business Station website. Oh, Nina, you can watch the recordings. So there will be a recording, but I do run this workshop every 3 or 4 weeks. So yeah, feel free to jump on again. You'll get the recording. And you can do the best thing with the recording is you can, of course, pause me and set it up as you go and make sure you've got everything covered. Or you can book a one-to-one with me, whatever you need. Can I have more deeper questions on the Google business? Yes, if you want to stay on, I will. Bear with me a second. I'm going to stop sharing my screen.